This is the Eddie X Listener series that you guys voted to be posted first. It is Two Wrongs Make a Right. This series is heavily involved in actually season 4 of Stranger Things. Like, it's literally the episodes, but I'm just shoving you guys into it because why the fuck not? Before we start, I do have trigger warnings. There is drug mention and slight drug use, swearing, fighting, and blood/gory scenes described. So if you do not like any of that, please leave and watch one of my other videos. And don't forget to enjoy and subscribe and like. You've always been known as the bad kid, although you got good grades. You were held back freshman year due to the fact that you got into many fights, but in that time you became good friends with a very specific person, Eddie Munson, the freak. You met at the picnic table while skipping and bought some drugs off of him. You soon started hanging out with him and his friends. You even started playing D&D, only when you were really bored mainly. Eddie and his friends would cover for you, and you would do the same. You're walking through the halls of Hawkins High. You came to school late. You didn't have a reason other than you didn't like your first few classes. Were you going to get in trouble? Yes. Did you care? Not really. You were walking through the hallway when the bell for the last class of the morning rung, telling all the students that it was lunchtime. They all started piling out of the classrooms, all heading different directions, some going to their lockers, some outside, and some heading straight to the lunchroom. You just kept walking, when someone called your name. Turning around to see who it was Dustin and Mike. "Hey listener, you heading to lunch?" Nodded before starting to walk again, the two boys following. You had met Dustin and Mike a while back. Jonathan and Will introduced you to them. For some reason, Dustin took a liking to you immediately. Getting to the cafeteria, you three started heading to the Hellfire table. You didn't normally sit with them, but Dustin insisted, and for some stupid reason, you couldn't bring yourself to say no. "What's up, listener?" Gareth yelled, putting his hand in a fist and reaching it across the table for you to pump. You did just that, sitting down in front of him and next to Eddie. Eddie started reading the newspaper he had in his hands. It was about D&D and Hellfire. He smashed it down fast, going on a rant before standing up on the table and yelling about some shit you didn't really care about. Until he yelled at the jocks table, making fun of them. You couldn't help but let out a bark of laughter. Jason's retaliation was calling Eddie a freak, making Eddie do this weird thing, basically embracing it. Walking back down the table, he continued to talk, jumping down and scaring the poor passerbys, until looking at you. "Oh, sweetheart, what's up?" You shook your head and laughed at the change in his demeanor when he saw you. "Hey, Eds. Nothing much, just getting forced to sit here by these two." You put your hand on Dustin's head, moving his hat over his eyes as he yelped. "Boys, where's Lucas?" Dustin and Mike both froze before clearing their throats. It was a few seconds of silence before Dustin shouted out, "He's not coming!" "Oh, god damn it." Eddie rubbed his head with his hands, groaning about how they needed someone. You sighed and nudged him with your elbow. "Hey, what was that for?" You looked at him with a "are you kidding" type of look. "I'll be the sub. Make it easy," you said. Eddie smiled and clapped his hands, yelling about how they only needed one more now. Damn it. You heard Dustin curse under his breath, making you giggle. Time skip to campaign night. Dustin had did what he was told and got a second sub, Erica. She was Lucas's little sister, and was kind of a huge pain in the ass, but you got along. We are going to skip to the end of the game, because I really don't want to have to go through the whole thing of doing the game, and I just kind of want to get to the juicy bits, so... As Erica had said at the start, she won the finishing role, and everyone erupted into screams and cheers. Soon after, everyone started packing up. Surprisingly, you included. "Hey, Wanna come over? I got some new stuff. You grinned, turning around and looking at Eddie. Bet? You simply said. Great. Well, I have a buyer coming in first, but after that, we're all alone. Eddie's voice trailed off at the end, and you raised an eyebrow before hitting his shoulder. Who is it? Eddie laughed, rubbing his arm before answering in a hushed tone. Chrissy. What? You yelled, making everyone stop and look at you and Eddie. Eddie shook his head before telling everyone to get home safe. Whoops. Yeah, whoops. You both stayed silent for a second before laughing and getting in his van, picking up Chrissy and heading to his house. She had a lot of questions as to why you were there, but you reassured her. Getting to Eddie's house, he hopped out, opening the door for you and Chrissy, then following you two in. You immediately headed to the couch and plopped down on it. Make yourself at home. I just gotta go find this son of a bitch. Chrissy nodded sheepishly while Eddie headed off the hallway. You looked at Chrissy, immediately noticing how nervous she was. Just breathe. It's not gonna hurt ya. You tried to reassure once again. She smiled at you before giving a soft thank you and turning back around. After a while, Chrissy seemed to be not moving. Worried, you got up walking over to her. Looking at her face, seeing her eyes were completely white. Chrissy? You said quietly, like if you were too loud she would shatter. Putting your hand on her shoulder, you shook her gently. Nothing. Chrissy? You were getting louder and starting to panic, shaking her more. Chrissy? Hey! Eddie seemed to hear you and ran in. What's happening? You looked at him panicked, explaining you had no idea and she just froze. Soon you were both yelling and shaking her. You let go, grabbing your head, cursing under your breath, Eddie still trying to snap her out of it when she was thrown into the air, slamming onto the roof. Eddie fell back screaming as you ran to him, helping him up. Chrissy's body started to break. Her arms and legs were going in directions not humanly possible as you held onto Eddie for dear life, him doing the exact same thing. Her jaw opened so wide that a massive crack was heard from when it broke. Eddie grabs your hand eventually. Shit! He screams, dragging you along behind him when you two went smashing through the front door, making you fall in the process. Eddie helped you up as you both were yelling questions at each other that you knew the other couldn't answer. You made a beeline for the woods. Eddie knew a boathouse that was left a while ago. It was safe, and it's not like you two stopped running to talk about where you were going to go. Getting there, Eddie slammed through the door, you running him after falling to the ground. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Is she dead? We should have checked. Why did we run? What's going on? You started to panic, yelling and ripping at your hair and arms. Eddie ran up to you, grabbing your arms and pulling you into a hug. I don't know what the hell just happened, but we'll be fine, okay? His voice shook as he held you.